The Nike Air Max line is getting it together with Foot Locker to come out with a remix pack, and it's a great looking pack because it has throwback to the OG days, but it also has contemporary stuff from the current days. But today what we're going to do is we're going to look at just two of them, the Air Max 90s and the Air Max 1s, but there's more. There's Air Max Pluses, there are other shoes that are beyond the Air Max line as well in this bigger pack. But what I want to focus in on is that Air Max 90 and that Air Max 1, because the two of them tell two particular stories in a very, very different way, and they're great shoes to look at. And we're going to take some detailed look at those guys today. But first and foremost, we shout it out to Hiking Deep, one of my best supporters, one of the people who drops comments on my videos all the time. They have a channel of their own, which is great if people can go over there and support and say, hey, Tokyo Butter 23 sent me over to you guys, because you support like always. I mean, if you want to check out the comments down below and see who's always there, Hiking Deep's one of the ones that's always there. And I want to give them a particular shout out in this video because of the Air Max 90s, and we'll jump into it a bit earlier than I normally would and look at that lacing system on there and look at that tongue in those earthy tones. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that those guys over at Hiking Deep are going to like about these shoes. I think everything else, they're just going to be like, not really feeling it. Even the camo, I think the camo on the, especially the Air Max 90s, still isn't going to be their thing, but that earth tones in the laces and those earth tones on the tongues are going to be a big thing for the guys over at Hiking Deep, and I'm going to bet my house that they're going to put a comment down below letting us know one way or the other whether I'm right about that, whether that's the only thing they like about the shoes or whether they like something more about it. And that's just, you know, a quick way to shout out one of my favorite channels, one of my favorite supporters, people I appreciate very, very much. But without further ado, let's actually get into this video and get a deeper look at these two shoes, because there's a Nike Air Max 1 and a Nike Air Max 90 in this remix pack. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Secret Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Secret Channelです。毎日アップするので毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today what we're looking at is a sneaker that's coming on August the 22nd. It's August the 17th today, and I think this video will be for August the 19th, which will be like 3 or 4 days before the actual drop of these guys. Bit cutting it fine with this one, if I'm honest. I prefer to have about a week or 10 days prior to the drop to do my videos, but this one's cutting it a little bit fine, but that's because there's been an awful lot of heat in the last week or so, and I just had to cram every one of those videos in. So here we are with this sort of dual pack, Air Max 1s, Air Max 90s, but like I said, there's more than that out there. I know for sure there's an Air Max Plus, but I think there's even more than that in this remix pack. But I want to focus on these two in particular, mainly because the Air Max 1s, I've done 2 videos in recent times for them. One of them was the anniversary pack, and this was the thumbnail for them. This isn't the actual shoe, this is the two shoes mashed together in a hybrid. I got comments in the comments down below about like, where's that shoe? Never seen that shoe before. It's in my imagination. I just spliced together 2 photographs. And then there was also the Air Max 1 Sneakers Day pack, which had 2 very different sneakers in it. And again, I'll put the thumbnail up behind me here. And those 2 videos did really well for me, relatively. You know, we're not Seth Fowler here, you know what I'm saying? Not talking hundreds of thousands of views. But they did, you know, relatively well for me. I was like, oh, okay, Air Max 1s are kind of hot right now. So here's this Air Max 1 in the remix pack. And then Air Max 90s, it says 30th anniversary year, and you can't help but try and do as many videos as possible in a sneakers anniversary year, 30 or 25 years or something like that. I'm not talking like the 17th anniversary year of, like, I'm not going to do that. But you know, big years, 30 years, 25 years, stuff like that, it's worth celebrating. So when an Air Max 90 comes along, like this guy right here, I definitely dig into it. And I have dug into quite a lot of camo Air Maxes, Air Max 90s this year. There was the reverse duck camos, then there was the orange duck camos, the green duck camos, and then these guys here have a bit of camo going on as well. So we'll get into that in a minute, but first things first, let's start high and work low on this shoe. I want to go way up high to the very top, to the tongue on there, because there's a piece of branding on there, and I want you to bear this in mind, because we'll come back to it on the Air Max 1s in a minute. But on the Air Max 90s, you've got this square panel of branding at the top of the tongues in what looks like a kind of grey, white and black camo effect that does not match the camo effect further down the shoe. But it's a good place to start because of that design, which is kind of unique and looks very, very good. But also it gives you that story that this shoe's going for, and it's going for different layers of retro, if you like. And we're going to go through those layers on this shoe right now and talk about that. So first things first, you're up high with that kind of grey, white and black, what looks like some kind of camo branding up there on the tongues. And then when you come down from that, the very first place that you stop is on the tongue itself, and the laces that we've already looked at in those earthy tones, very brown on the tongue, very kind of olive green on the laces, and that's sort of one layer of narrative on the shoe, is that earthy tones on there. And then when we drop it down from that, you get into the camo, that black and red and kind of white camo in there, but it's sort of almost digital. It's not at all like the reverse duck or the duck camos at all, which is a very camo-y feel, but this feels more digital than it does feel more like natural or woodland. And like I say, the guys over at Hike and Deep are into their sort of nature stuff, so when there's camo on a shoe, sometimes it's a big deal for those guys, but actually I don't know if they're going to go for this camo. I think it might not be the kind of camo that they're looking for, but that's sort of layer number 2, and within that comes a really fine swoosh in all black premium leather, and I'll give you a close-up look at it so you can get a real sense of the quality of leather that they're putting on that swoosh there, because it is very, very fine. And then we come down from that to the next layer on these guys, and it's a really cool layer of denim, and this is where you're getting that kind of retro vibe, and you're going back to, you know, the mid-90s, the early 90s. A lot of jeans and sort of denim going on, denim jackets and stuff like that were hot at that time, so it's got that real retro vibe to it, and hopefully I'll be able to zoom in and give you a real sort of sense of how that denim works on there. And then we come down, you know, into that standard midsole for an Air Max 90, especially with the air unit on the back and the wedge around that with the midsole in white and the wedge in black. I like the contrast. I think it works really well. And then we flip them upside down and finish off with a sort of semi-partial, I think I'm right in saying, hopefully the picture will do me justice here, I think I'm right in saying a semi-partial gum sole on the outsole of these guys. So it's a really layered sneaker if you go with that, the tongue branding, and then the tongue and the laces, and then you've got the camo, and then the denim, and then the sort of gum sole, and there's like a layered cake or something, all those different parts going on. And a quick shout out to something that's not really anything to do with the layered cake, but I do like the heel design on these guys. If I'm right, it's a black heel design with red details on it, which I think really pops. It's not quite in line with the rest of the shoe, you know, the narrative of the rest of the shoe, but it still looks really good and really fine. But then we go over to the Air Max 1s, and there's super contrast between the Air Max 1s and the Air Max 90s. The 90s are all layered and complicated and multiple stories all going on at once, whereas the Air Max 1s, it's just one shoe and one story. It's not got this sort of vibe of pulling from different places. But we'll start up high on those Air Max 1s and look at the branding on there, because it's exactly the same as the branding on the Air Max 90s. That square on there, it does look like the grey, black, white kind of camo effect on there. And actually, if we draw back from that and go onto the insole, I didn't show you it on the Air Max 90s, but I'll show you it now on the Air Max 1s, because they're identical, and it's got this rich kind of gold feel to the detailing on that. I think it's a black insole, and the gold really pops off of it. So I'll be showing you it here, and it does look the same in the 90s and the 1s as well. But the big story, and the only story as far as I'm concerned on the 1s, is a semi kind of plaid versus camo effect that goes on, and it runs the full length of the shoe in little sort of pops. It's not like a consistent line that runs along the length of the shoe like, say, a Jordan 11, the way the patent leather runs the entire length of the shoe. It sort of pops up every so often, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the front and work my way back, because the back is really unique on these guys, and it's something that's worth hanging out for. So we start at the front at the bottom of the lacing system, and that's the first place you get that hint of something going on there, and you're kind of like looking at it and thinking, is that plaid and a kind of check effect that they've gone for, or is it more a camo effect? I'm not entirely sure. Let's follow it back though, and you can see it sort of loses, it disappears into the shoe, but then it resurfaces on the top line around the ankle with a lot more definition, and there's a bigger piece of canvas to sort of paint on, and it put that branding, not branding, the design on, and you're starting to see the pattern come out a bit more. But like I said, it's actually on the heels that you can really see the patterning, and hopefully I'm doing it justice here and showing you on the back here. And the thing that I really want to show is the two, the left and the right, and you can see that they're both very, very different. It's not exactly the same design on one and the other. And it feels like one's more plaid and the other one's more sort of camo effect, but it's very subtle. It's sort of hidden in the shoe, a very white and grey and black shoe without any of the kind of like definition and pop of the Air Max 90s, but it's still a very clean shoe and a very nice looking addition to this remix pack. And the one other thing I think I'm right in saying it's worth pointing out is the quarter line, which I think has a bit of a sheen to it, but I'm not entirely sure why, whether or not it's buffed up or whether or not it's it's the material or whether it's not like design, I'm not sure, but it's got a sort of sheen to it that I haven't seen before for a while. So so all in all, I'll come back, I'll put up the thumbnail for these guys, which I originally tried to do at the two halves of the sneakers, but that didn't sort of gel right together. But then when I did it like a diagonal split, it kind of worked really well, and you can see the thumbnail with the Air Max 1s and the Air Max 90s sort of spliced together. But a very cool pair of shoes, both of them well worth, you know, the money and well worth getting into. Personally, my preference went straight to the Air Max 90s. There was something about it, I think it was the denim that really caught my eye, and I was just like, yeah, that's a very cool shoe. But you know, if you're going for either pair, I think you'll be happy with either pair. And like I say, there's more to this pack, and you can check out the other shoes in the pack as well, and decide, you know, which of these guys to go after. And that's about it for me. It's late today. Ooh, it's 12:45 at night on Monday night. Oh my God. I usually get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work. So I'm already into about 5 hours sleep tonight, which is not enough. But you know what? I'll do it for you guys. I'll do it for YouTube to get this daily content going. So I'm going to go ahead and just, you know, get this video sort of prepped. It's Monday night, and this video is actually for Wednesday. Tomorrow, I think we've got it's Jaden Smith's shoe tomorrow, and then this one on Wednesday. So you know, thanks for checking out the content. I truly appreciate it, and I'll do what I do at the end of every single one of the videos, which is thank you guys for checking it out, and remind you that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.